Good afternoon, ladies. Sorry about the reschedules. I had family stuff going on yesterday. I figured my tree back there was a better ambiance than the back of a couch or a mirror. I apologize if you hear my dogs. They are hellions, to say the least. And they may very well bark when my husband comes home in 20 minutes. So I do apologize ahead of time for that. But I'm going to go ahead and get started because I have to get myself together and around for a funeral this evening. Viewing hours, and then the funeral is tomorrow. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. The title of this live is The Differences in Paganism, Wicca, and Witchcraft. We're going to talk about what the differences are and some frequently asked questions that might bring some clarification as to any thoughts or questions you may have about it. Can somebody comment so I can make sure that I can see comments? I see there's a few people watching. It only popped up with 2. I just need to make sure I don't need to open Facebook on another device. I'm not seeing any comments. Okay, it's not, comments aren't popping up on my phone for some reason. I will have to go back and forth between my phone and where I have my notes because I am not able to see any comments. Just a moment, y'all. I can't even see comments on the computer. That's odd. Give me a second. I'm still trying to figure it out. I don't know if it's my system running slow or what's happening. There we go. I see comments. So I'll have to hop back and forth between my notes and the comments on Facebook. All right, I see some comments. Hello to everybody. Thanks for the condolences. All right, I'm going to go ahead and get started. Like I said, I'll pop back and forth between the pages so I can see comments every so often. So, everybody is familiar with the terms being pagan, being Wiccan, or being a witch. You even have being a Christian witch and so forth. So what's the difference? The terms are all very closely related, and some do share common ground. But there are also a lot of differences that separate all three of them. So Wicca is a tradition of witchcraft that was brought to the public by Gerald Gardner. I don't know if you've all heard of him. I have quite a few of his books. He is also known as the father of witchcraft. But it was brought to the public by Gerald Gardner in the 1950s. There's a lot of debate in the pagan community about whether or not Wicca is truly the same form of witchcraft that the ancients practiced. Regardless, many people use the term Wicca and witchcraft interchangeably. Paganism, although, is an umbrella term used to apply to a number of different earth-based faiths. Wicca falls under that heading, although not all pagans are Wiccans, not all witches are Wiccan. You can fall under one of these categories, or you can fall under multiple of these categories. So we're going to start with, what is paganism? So paganism is an umbrella term used to describe a diverse group of religious and spiritual belief systems. These belief systems fall outside of the scope of the main world religions such as Christianity, Judaism, Islam, Hinduism, and Buddhism, amongst others. Pagan religions tend to be either polytheist, which means it's a belief in multiple deities, which most of us have a belief in multiple deities. Animist, which is a belief that all things have a spirit. A lot of us also believe that as well. Or pantheist, which is a belief that the divine is in everything. A lot of us also have that belief as well. And they also place a great significance on nature, though this is not true for every pagan religion. Most of the witches, Wiccans, or pagans that I know focus a lot on nature-based practices. Some pagan belief systems are reconstructed from the ancient belief systems, such as Hellenism, Celtic Reconstructionism, and heathenry. Others are modern religions that incorporate elements of pre-Christian practices, such as Wicca and modern Druidry. Paganism is also referred to as modern paganism, contemporary paganism, and neo-paganism in order to separate it from historical paganism, though many practitioners simply use the term paganism or pagan. When you're referring to the practice or religion itself, a lot of people say paganism. I like to refer to myself as pagan. The word pagan is derived from the Latin term paganus, meaning rustic, and then later on it meant civilian. So it was a term used by Christians during the end of the Roman Empire to identify non-Christians who practiced polytheism, which meant that, like I said earlier, they worshipped multiple gods and goddesses, not just the Christian God. Pagan was originally a derogatory term used in that context, implying that polytheist non-Christians were basically simple country folk who practiced an inferior religion. There's a lot of research and a lot of stories on this if you look into it. I forget what the class was. One of my history courses that I had to take before I graduated in May, in the very last semester, actually went into this in great detail towards the end of the semester, and it was quite interesting. I learned a lot of stuff there that I had absolutely no idea about. Pagans did not use this word to describe themselves or religious practices until the modern era. I'm going to flip back over real fast and check comments. I hope y'all enjoyed that tree back there. It's beautiful. Okay. It absolutely is good to learn about a variety of beliefs. And that's the reason why I, chose to do the differences in these three, because a lot of people are, hello to Kitty. A lot of people have misconceptions about what pagans are, what Wiccans are, and then what the difference is between all of them and in witchcraft, Mr. Sir. Put that tree up, Kate. I promise you'll feel better. Kitty is a little annoying, Kirsten. All right, so back to the live. We're going to talk about Wicca next. So what is Wicca? Wicca is a modern religion that falls under the umbrella term of paganism. Wicca was developed in England during the 1940s and 1950s, and again was introduced to the world in the 1950s by Gerald Gardner. It places a heavy emphasis on nature and the pre-Christian religious and witchcraft traditions of Northern and Western Europe. It's worth noting that Gardner and his early followers never used the term Wicca to describe their religion. Rather, they referred to it as a witch cult or the old religion. I've always heard it and referred to it as the old religion. Later, during the 1960s, the name of this religious movement was normalized to Wicca. Wiccans primarily believe in two deities, the goddess and the god. These divine figures are responsible for the cycles of life and death on Earth and play an important role in the Wiccan Wheel of the Year, which is the calendar of Sabbats, which are the festivals and holidays, and the Esbats followed by Wiccans. Pagans also have a Wheel of the Year and follow their own set, which are similar to the Sabbats that Wiccans follow. I will say that more people say that the Christians, original old Christian religions, took the pagan holidays and adapted them as their own. Like they say, pagans are the reason for the season. Some of that I believe, some of that not so much. A lot of it's been sensationalized over the years. But there was a lot of information, a lot of things that were misconstrued and overemphasized, fantasized back during the old religion, like back during the Salem witch trials and after that, that made people believe that what witches and what Wiccans, or if you practiced anything other than the Christian religion, that it was wrong. It was automatically witchcraft. If you did anything with herbs, if you didn't go see a doctor and you used herbs instead of using a doctor prescribed medication, you were automatically a witch. So there was a lot of the word is escaping me for what I'm trying to say. There's a lot of I'm sorry, I can't think of the word. I can't think of the word. I apologize. There's a lot of information that has been misconstrued, is a better way to say it, in regards to, the way that the old Christians looked at people who didn't attend church or who didn't go to the doctor on a regular basis, or those who relied on growing their own foods and using herbs as a way, and tea. Tea used to be looked at as taboo. All of those type of things made it out to be by the old religion, the old style Christianity. That it was all witchcraft. It was all evil. They were worshiping Satan, the devil, what have you. And that was because people just didn't understand. And there was a lack of education and a lack of knowledge on it back in those days. And Christianity was such a large foundation to what our country and what our belief systems and what our government was formed on, that people didn't take the time to step back and see that there may be other belief systems out there. They just put it out there that Christianity was the one and only religion. And then as time goes on, you can see that it goes from Christianity to Judaism to Hinduism to Druidry. All of that they are all stemmed off of Christianity, just like pagans and Wiccans are all stemmed off from witchcraft. Like they said, paganism is an umbrella term for Wiccan and witchcraft. With Wiccans and witchcraft practitioners fall under the umbrella term of paganism. So it's kind of the same if you look at it like that. Christianity has various types of Christianity branches. Government has various types of branches. So, sorry, I just kind of went on a rant right there. Back to talking about Wiccans. Rituals and deity worship often take place on the Sabbats and Esbats. And the Esbats, if you're not familiar with that, are the celebrations held on specific moon phases. There are 4 Esbats, whereas there are 8 Sabbats. And may incorporate magical practices. Tools used in a Wiccan ritual might include things such as a chalice, candles, pentacle, an athame, which is a ceremonial blade, amongst other things, offering dishes. We know that we have to have our candles, our incense, our sage, anything that we deem necessary in our practice. And as I was saying, today there are many branches of the Wicca religion, each with their own core beliefs and practices. Check comments real fast. Misconceptions. Yes, Haley, that is the correct words. Lindsay, anything that involved using tea or herbs or anything like that. My husband, so I'm sorry for the noise in the background. You're so corny. Okay. Hi. Yes, anything that was used as medicinal was considered taboo, and a lot of people would brew. She said, "You mean you let yours come home?" Sometimes I do. He's home early today compared to most days. I miss him when he's gone, so. He said, "Aw." Alright. Yeah, agree. And see, that's the thing, Kirsten. If you didn't see their doctors, or if you didn't believe what they believed, or didn't practice the things that they practiced, you were automatically considered a witch. That it was taboo to not practice what they practiced. Everybody in those days had to believe and have the same set of beliefs as every other person in their community. And if you didn't, then you were considered an outcast. That's kind of how Salem witch trials started. Okay. Now, what is witchcraft? Witchcraft is the practice of magic and energy manipulation. Witchcraft is an extremely broad term that refers to a huge, diverse assortment of practices and traditions. From Africa to South America, from Europe to Australia, and from North America to Asia. There are literally hundreds of cultures with their own histories on witchcraft, as we were just discussing. There are also nearly limitless ways to practice witchcraft: spellcrafting, herbalism, divination. That's just a few. In the simplest sense, witchcraft is any act that attempts to harness or control certain energies in order to manifest a desired result. If you are familiar with the practice of intention setting, then you are already acquainted with the basic principle of witchcraft. The difference is that many witches use tools and rituals to help power up their manifestation abilities. Common types of witchcraft include green witchcraft, which is obviously herbalism, botany, working with plants, kitchen witchcraft, which is focused on home routines and cooking, doing your home and hearth stuff. Hedge witch, which is focused on communicating with the spiritual plane. And then traditional witchcraft, which is focused on historical practices and beliefs, amongst many other forms of witchcraft. So that is a basic understanding of the difference in the three, what the differences are between the three of them: paganism, Wicca, and witchcraft. Now, some frequently asked questions about paganism, Wicca, and witchcraft. Are all pagans Wiccan? No. Pagan is an umbrella term referring to many different religions and belief systems. While it's not a perfect analogy, consider how Christianity has many different denominations, as we discussed earlier: Baptist, Lutheran, Methodist, Judaism, all of that. Asking if all pagans are Wiccans is like asking if all Christians are Baptist or Catholic. Wicca is technically a form of paganism, meaning all Wiccans are pagans. However, many Wiccans think of themselves as Wiccans first and foremost and do not relate to the term pagan. I have seen some people get fairly upset when they have been referred to as being pagan instead of being called Wiccan. Are all witches Wiccan, and are all witches pagan? No. Witchcraft is a practice, not a religion. Pagan and Wiccan are religions. Witches can be Wiccan, heathen, Hellenic polytheist, Jewish, Christian, agnostic, atheist, or any other religion on the planet. You can be a witch and be any religion that there may be out there. Think of witchcraft as a hobby or activity, such as soccer, painting, or baking. Just as these activities are not limited to any one religion, witchcraft is not limited to any one religion. Now, I don't want you to be misconstrue or misinterpret my wording saying that witchcraft is just a hobby or an activity. Witchcraft is a way of life. Paganism is a way of life. Being Wiccan is a way of life. That was just an analogy to kind of put in perspective how some people can look at witchcraft versus how somebody will look at paganism or being Wiccan. There are pagans who practice witchcraft, just as there are atheists and Christians who practice witchcraft. However, there are also many pagans who do not practice witchcraft or even believe in the power or validity of witchcraft. So there's a lot of aspects that you can look at paganism and Wicca versus witchcraft. And you don't have to be one to be the other. Are all Wiccans witches? Not necessarily. Although magic and witchcraft are a big part of the Wiccan religion, there are some practitioners who worship the Wiccan god and goddess and take part in the Sabbat and Esbats, but do not particularly feel called to witchcraft. Let me check comments. Hi, Ellen. All right, so if you want to say you want to cast spells and learn magic, should you convert to Wicca or paganism? Not necessarily. You can become a witch, cast spells, and learn magic without converting to any specific religion. You should only consider converting if you understand the principles of the religion, believe in the relevant gods and goddesses, and feel called to participate in their religious practices. So if you consider yourself a witch, do you have to follow the rule of 3? No. The rule of 3 is a Wiccan tenet that states whatever energy a person puts out into the world, be it positive or negative, it will be returned to that person threefold. Unless you follow the Wiccan religion, the rule of 3 does not need to be a part of your practice. You can follow the tenets of your own religion, or if you are a secular witch, you can follow your own set of ethics. So do all pagans and witches follow the Wheel of the Year? No. The Wheel of the Year is a modern calendar based upon ancient festivals from a combination of cultures. It is primarily used by Wiccans, though there are non-Wiccan pagans and witches who also follow it. For example, the ancient Celts observed 4 main festivals during the year. Samhain, which was observed November 1st. Imbolc, which is February 1st. Beltane, which was May 1st. I cannot say Lugnasad, so I call it Lammas, which was August 1st. All 4 of these festivals are represented in the Wheel of the Year, along with others that would have been of lesser, more importance. By comparison, the ancient Norse people had 3 main festivals. A festival commemorating the start of the winter, known as Winter Nights, which runs mid to late October. A midwinter festival, which is historically in January, but often celebrated in December among modern pagans. And a festival commemorating the start of summer, which was also, I cannot pronounce this word, Sigbolt, which is in mid-April. Important Norse pagan holidays are not well represented on the Wheel of the Year. Some pagans will celebrate some of the holidays on the Wheel of the Year, but not others. I know there are members of our groups who don't celebrate the Sabbats at all or recognize the equinoxes, and there are some who only celebrate certain Sabbats. I observe all of the Sabbats, but I do not celebrate all of the Sabbats. But I do recognize, observe, and celebrate the equinoxes. Some pagans will celebrate some of the holidays, some others. Secular or non-pagan witches may not celebrate any of these holidays. Also, just because you like to dress up in Greek god clothing or Viking clothing and watch movies about ancient cultures and Greeks and Romans, that does not necessarily mean that you are pagan or Norse or any of the sort. That just means that that's something that you're interested in. But I would encourage you, if that is something that you are interested in, and branching out and looking at other types of information on your Vikings, Greek gods, Roman gods, and maybe incorporating that into your practice. It is okay that you do not believe or worship any particular deity, god or goddess. Some people just call to the universe, others call to Gaia. Others have multiple deities, like myself. I usually work with all feminine energies. There's other ones out there who only work with masculine energies. There's a mix of the two. Some may only work with one deity. Some, like I said, may not have a deity. It's not a requirement of this spiritual practice, whether it be paganism, whether it be Wicca, or whether it be witchcraft, that you have to have a deity. Just as, like, all Christians go to church and read the Bible, but don't actually believe in God. There's pagans who go through the motions, but don't actually believe in gods and goddesses. You don't have to, it's not, I hate to say this, but A lot of people look at Christianity as following a set of rules, which is why people go to church and follow the 10 Commandments and read the Bible. Whereas with witchcraft, being Wiccan, Wiccans follow the Wiccan read. Pagans don't have anything like that, and witches don't have anything like that. Each religion, each practice makes their own set of ethical rules in which to live by. What may be for one may not be for another. I personally don't go by the Wiccan read. I don't consider myself Wiccan. I consider myself to be a pagan witch, dark witch at that. I have light aspects. I work with Freya here and there for my lighter aspects of my craft, but I work with Hecate for pretty much everything that I do in my practice. So what is necessarily what's not good for the goose may not be good for the gander. You know, play on words kind of type thing. So I'm going to check comments before I go through a summary real fast. No apologies needed. I'm glad I was able to share some of that knowledge, Trinity, or Serenity, my apologies. I think that's kind of like some religions that pick and choose what they want to follow and what rules apply to them or not. Yes, absolutely, Christy. Absolutely. And you are absolutely right, Linda. That is what makes witchcraft so appealing. That was one of the reasons, and it's not the only reason. Yes, Rachel. Yes, yes, yes. Agree, Linda. It is definitely important to understand the differences in these main three terms that are tossed around throughout our spiritual practice and in the spiritual world in general. Okay, so I'm going to go back and summarize a little bit of what we talked about, and then if you guys have any questions, don't hesitate to put them in the comments. So, summarizing the difference between paganism, Wicca, and witchcraft. Paganism is an umbrella term used to describe a diverse group of religions and beliefs. Wicca is a modern religion that falls under the umbrella term of paganism. Witchcraft is the practice of magic and energy manipulation. Not all pagans are Wiccans, and not all pagans are witches. All Wiccans are technically pagan, and most but not all Wiccans are witches. Witches can be any religion, or they can be atheist or agnostic. And that is what I have for you guys. I thought I had other notes, but they may have gotten deleted. So I encourage you all to do, if you have any sort of inkling or question as to anything that we've discussed today, do not hesitate to do some research. Ask questions. You are absolutely right. Yes, Kirsten. She said not only for you, but also for others as well. That way we know, because just because we go one way doesn't mean everyone does. And you're absolutely right. Not everybody follows the same path. Even in our group, we have so many various types of spiritualists in our group that it blows my mind. Like, for the longest time, I did not know there was such a thing as Christian witches. It actually kind of blew my mind when I realized that we had quite a few Christian witches in our group. And I mean no offense to anybody when I do discuss Christianity. A lot of the Christianity that I discuss refers to the old ways, the original forms of Christianity. Christianity has changed so much over the decades that it's nothing like it was, you know, back when the Salem witch trials were happening. There are some Christians, not anybody in our group. I'll make that clear now. Not anybody in our group. I am not slamming on anybody or knocking on anybody. But there are some Christians out there who look at paganism, Wiccan, and witchcraft as being the absolute worst thing in the world. They will damn us up one end and down the other. There's Facebook groups out there that are all about stopping the pagans, and we're just the worst type of people in the world out there. Even I live in Ohio. They have the pagan pride every year up around the Cleveland area. I've gone to it one time, and the little square where they have pagan pride at, there are at least 2 churches within this little tiny square. And there were activists from inside of the church, both churches, outside of their churches with loudspeakers on microphones, talking about how it's blasphemy and it's come to Jesus and all of that type of stuff. And it blew my mind that there's so many active Christians out there who believe that Christianity is the only way and are very, very adamant on the fact that Jesus Christ is the only savior out there. I don't believe that at all. And I think we have all come to realize that there are so many sorry. Yes, absolutely. Haley says, I didn't know there were Christian witches as well. No judgment from me until I met one not long ago. It was a nice perspective from someone else and how we can all be friends without judgment. And a lot of us can be, 90% of the communities can be. But there is a small portion, not in our groups, of Christians out there who are the complete opposite than the Christian witches that we have within our groups. I am very thankful for the Christian witches that are in our groups. Rachel says, folks who are religious but not Christ-like Jesus would be ashamed of their behavior, just saying he hung out with the ladies of the streets and the outcasts. Yes. It's like that here too. That's why my city's called the Bible Belt, but it's a bunch of surrounding cities too. Yeah, I want to say probably every single state has a Bible Belt, and it's real bad down in the South. And that's exactly it, Kirsten. You hit the nail on the head. She said, my little witchling is being brought up with both right now. She will be able to choose what one fulfills her. But I agree that the comment that the Bible's is the only right as my in-laws grind my gears. And that's, yes, absolutely. Everybody should have a choice. No religion, no way of life should ever be forced on any child or any person at all. And those who try to force it, I have my thoughts on that too, but I'll keep that to myself. Everybody's entitled to their own belief system, and I will fully support that and back anybody up on that. I may not believe in the Christian God, but who am I to tell somebody else that you can't worship that Christian God and still practice witchcraft? And who are Christians to look at any of us and tell us that what we believe in is fake and it's a facade and it's not real? You believe what you believe, and you let us believe what we want to believe. That is part of our constitutional rights, is freedom of religion. And I will take that to my grave, on my headstone, the day that I die. It is very personal, very, very personal. Just like every type of people, it's a wide belief on where people sit and how they act. Absolutely, Ellen. So I could go on and on and on and talk about the different religions, and especially Salem, the witch trials, and so many witches and non-witches being persecuted because of the belief systems back in those days. But I will say that it has come, religion and spirituality has come such a long way, since the Salem witch trials. Some things are good, some things not so much. Kirsten says, my boys have decided they don't like either and will grow up to be vampires. So it's a person choice, definitely. It's what calls to you, not others. Absolutely. I want to be a vampire when I grow up too. I'd love to be a vampire. My husband said I am a vampire. But maybe eventually, sometime down the road, maybe in Where Witches Roam, I will, same, Elizabeth, I don't want to grow up either. No adulting. Yeah, husband said it's a little too late for that. We can turn back time. There we go, ladies. Let's invent a time machine and let's turn back time so none of us have to ever grow up. I agree, Elizabeth. Most days, I definitely agree. There's other days that I'm like, I sit back and I look at where I used to be compared to where I am right now. Like yesterday, my reschedule had to do with, family stuff and doing some things around my house. And when I got done just sitting back and looking around at everything, I'm proud of where I am now compared to where I was once upon a time. So adulting is great sometimes. Other times I just want to sit in my PJs and eat cereal and watch cartoons. After I've had my coffee, of course. But yes, I would absolutely love to not have to adult most days, but other days I'm all for it. Let's check these comments again. Vampires is the secret, Kirsten. Vampires. Absolutely, Serenity. And that's how everybody should be teaching their children and anybody that questions, what we do in our spirituality. Respect all choices and religions and allow other people to choose what way they want to practice spirituality. There is no one set way. Yes, Linda, I say that very often. She says, I'm happy with my growth, but I will say sometimes things were easier once upon a time. I say that quite often. I miss the way that things were, especially as a child. I was raised Christian, so I was a Christian once upon a time. I haven't been for a long time, but I miss the good old days when we had all the family together, and we would all gather at grandma's house for the holidays, and there would be a plethora of so many different types of foods and all the gifts that were around the Christmas tree. But again, the gifts weren't what mattered. It was the fact that we had all of our families, and I have a very large family. Our family from out of state would come in. My grandmother's house would be so packed full of people. And those were the good old days. That's when things were a lot simpler and a lot easier than what they are now. So I can definitely sympathize with that. Yes, Rachel, I love that. Here's to growth and pajamas with Coraline when needed. Absolutely. Funny you say that, because I have a tattoo of Coraline on the top of my right thigh. I love Tim Burton. I have the Corpse Bride here on my arm as well. Adulting without the fine lines and wrinkles, please. Yes. No worries, Kirsten. I'm glad you were able to hop on. Hi, Casey. Yes, those were definitely the good old days. All my grandparents have passed. Don't have grandparents anymore, unfortunately. I am attending my best friend's grandmother's calling hours today and funeral tomorrow. She was like another grandmother to us. So that's great, and I'm very glad that some families are able to do that. My mom believes in the Christian God. She's all about being Christianity. She don't attend church or anything like that. She knows what I do. She knows who I am. My dad knows who I am. My dad still kind of looks at my collection of stuff, and he says, you really believe in all that? So yes, I do believe in all of that. Half the time I'll try to explain something to my mom. My mom has been questioning and getting into dream interpretation. So that's something I'm trying to help her understand. I'm still learning dream interpretation myself. Thank you, Lindsay, and thank you, Rachel. Death is a very, very sad part of life. But it all boils down to there are differences. Thank you, Cheyenne. Yeah, see, one bad experience for somebody can ruin the entire view on things. But when you have somebody who's properly educated that can, show somebody and teach somebody that, just because something bad happened, I gotcha. I was wondering what that was about, Linda. And it gives my mother and I a chance to connect on a different level too. She comes to me all the time about her dreams. I actually gave her a dream dictionary, the first dream dictionary that I acquired. And since then, I use this one when I go to interpret her dreams as well as my own. I recommend these Llewellyn's Complete book of or complete dictionary of. I recommend all of these books because they go into such detail and depth about so many different things. I've got the dreams one. I have the complete book of divination. I am learning tarot, so I also have this one, the complete book of tarot. I highly recommend these complete books from the Llewellyn publications. And if you are really interested in the old style of witchcraft, back when Gerald Gardner had come out, get this one, Big Blue, Buckland's Complete Book of Witchcraft. This talks about Gerald Gardner a lot in this book, and about a lot of the things. Yes, Casey, Llewellyn's books are phenomenal. This goes back to the very, very old ways of witchcraft, the old style, the old religion. And it also talks about how Christianity... I buy all of my books, 90% of my books on Amazon, Elizabeth. So if you have an Amazon account, sign up for Prime, you get free shipping. You can pretty much look up all of these books online. If you want, you are welcome to send me a message and I can send you a photo of these books. I am a huge advocate for continuing your education and buying as many books as possible. Knowledge is power. I think you are right, Casey. I do think you're right. I did not do any shopping for, yes, Lindsay, today's Cyber's Monday. Get on Amazon. There's probably some book deals. See, I opened up a whole new can of worms here with these books. No, I don't. Husband said I have enough books. I don't. Wait, Serenity, what's the holy water incident? I must know. You can send me a message. Let me know what that's about. I'm happy that my in-laws accept what I do as well. She said live video. I want to know too. I did see that you sent me a message, Elizabeth. I'll get to it as soon as I get off of this live. Yeah, if you want to let me know in a private message, or if you're comfortable in putting it in, you started it. You're the bestest and stuff. Oh, well, thank you. But yes, always advocate for educational books. I don't have any literature per se on the difference between Wicca, witchcraft, and paganism, but I do have a few books on Gerald Gardner. Let's see. I think this is one. Yes, this is one by Gerald Gardner, Witchcraft Today. Get out of here. She threw holy water on me and called me a demon succubus and stuff when I first got with Nick. Oh my gosh. I have to laugh about it, otherwise I'd get mad because that's crazy. people can be very closed-minded, and I hate that for you, that you had to go through that when you and Nick got together. But hopefully, I hope it has gotten better. Yes, Crystal, I'm at the very end. It's been interesting. We've had some laughs. Exactly. That's not cool at all. Oof. You are definitely the farthest thing from a demon succubus, Serenity. I promise you that. We love you. And we're excited to have you come back. All right, ladies. Well, that's all I have for you guys. If anybody wants me to take photos of those Llewellyn books, I will do so, and I can send them to you. And she said you're our favorite succubus. Yes, ma'am. Aw. You can go ahead and send me a message, Cheyenne. Either that, or I will post the photos of those books that I showed in the event, so everybody has them. What? Oh my gosh. You're welcome. I'll go ahead and just post the books in the event since so many people are asking for them. I'll post the Gerald Gardner book as well if you're interested in learning anything about Gerald Gardner. Y'all are killing me. Succubuses. We have such a great group of ladies. I love you guys. You should, Christy. You absolutely should. You're welcome. And thank you, Haley. Thank you very much. All right, ladies. I'm going to hop off of here so I can get ready for these calling hours. Any questions, don't hesitate to put them in the comments. I will get those books posted this afternoon after I get back from calling hours. So I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. It's a Monday, so make the best week ever. It's the start of December here in about 4 days, the end of 2023. You are welcome, Elizabeth. You are very welcome, Kate. All right, ladies, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Crystal, I hope you don't have to work a double today and you're actually getting to go home. All right, ladies, I will talk to you all soon. Blessed be.